The centerpiece of our show this year is a pixel-based Christmas tree. And this tree has 16 strings of lights with 50 lights each in it, spaced out in a 180-degree arc, so half a circle. I've got it topped with a Christmas star that I picked up from Lowe's and then loaded up with some pixels. So all of these are put together using the holidaykoro.com QuickTree light system. It consists of, let's see if we can get this thing to focus here. It consists of a plastic strip that these nodes press into. So these nodes are all individually controlled bulbs that provide a red, a green, and a blue LED in them. Those are all controlled from a pixel controller. But the whole system works very nicely to put together a very nice focal point for the system. So their QuickTree system consists of a big plastic disc with a whole bunch of rectangular perforations through it that these strips will get locked into. I've got it on a 1/2-inch black iron pipe. It goes all the way down to the ground and then gets anchored into another plate on the ground with a couple of stakes holding that in place. All of the individual strings get held in with their own tent stakes, and that just provides the tension. So in order to set this up, I started off by lining up the first two on the sides, figuring out how far apart they needed to be in order to make a nice triangle shape. So if we come back over here, you guys can see about how the triangle shape works. That gives us how far apart these strings need to be from where it matches, from where it comes in to there. That gives us the radius of the circle. From there, if we multiply that radius times pi, that gives us the circumference of half of the circle. And just divide that number by the number of strings that you guys are going to be putting up. And then take that measurement and then just space out each one of these strings by that amount apart. Mine worked out to be right about 7 1/4 inches. What that does is gives you nice even spacing all the way around the tree. All of these strings then connect back to a pixel controller. So what I have here in this group is an AlphaPix pixel controller. What this does is it communicates back to a Raspberry Pi controller in my garage that has all of these show files on it, and then this controller communicates out to each one of these strings through one of these ports. This particular controller has 16 ports on it, so I can run up to 16 different strings, and on those strings I can have up to 340 individual bulbs on those strings. In the case of this particular tree, I have 4 strings tied together, so it goes all the way up to the top, jumps over to the next string, and continues back down on that second string here. You can see we've got a jumper wire connecting over, and then travels back up this next string here, and follows back down on the 4th string. On the end of the 4th string, we have power injection. What the power injection does is ensures that the very last bulb on here has just as much voltage available as the first bulb in the string. The reason we do that is to ensure that we get a consistent light color throughout the whole string. If we didn't, we would have the first lights give us a nice blue-white color, but by the time we get to the very end of the string without power injection, the last bulbs would be kind of a dim yellow color. The power injection allows us to keep all of those a very consistent color throughout. These power injection lines come through. We can see I've got several of these lines tied together. So each one of these, I've got half of the string tied into one output. Give me 1 second here. And then those tie into the power supply box. So each one of the power supplies connects into our lights show through a fused connection. Switch hands here a second. It's a little chilly outside this morning, so plastic's not wanting to give as much, but each one of these power supplies I have connected in with a 30 amp fuse. These are just standard automotive fuses I've used. I've picked these fuse holders up, I think at an AutoZone or O'Reilly or something like that, but fairly easy to find. So I have 2 power supplies in each one of my boxes here. One set runs the Christmas tree, and the others on this setup run the panels, which we will discuss on another video. But that's the basics of how the Christmas tree is set up, and as we go a little bit further, we will dig into how to configure the Christmas tree in our programming software, which I use X-Lights. So we'll walk through the setup, the programming, and the sequencers of how to run a pixel tree for your very own holiday light show.